Yeah, hello and welcome to our webinar, Security Terminal with KNX. Welcome from ABB Stotz-Kontakt in Heidelberg. I hope everybody can hear me. My name is Thorsten Reibel. I will share, as always, the webinar with Jürgen Schilder, who will follow after my first part. And if you have any questions, you will find down there the chat, the chat window. You can type in any question and send it to us, to the host and to the presenter, and then we will try to answer it immediately. As always, we will send you also later on the presentation, including the recorded seminar as a file. And we will get later on then a feedback, as you got always from our webinars. Just for your information, it's the same webinar we did already at the 8th of October, so no different content. It's again the second session of the Security Terminal webinar. And as mentioned, we will send you all the information later on. In order to improve the performance of our system, I would like to switch off my video right now because it, let me say, reduce the performance of our recording of the session. And in order to have the optimum, let me say, recorded file, we would like to switch it off. But of course, you can listen to me and you can see my presentation. And the same later on for Jürgen. Okay, allow me to switch off now my video. And let's start with the webinar. Topic is Security Terminal MTU or MTS. There are more than one component behind. So I will start a bit with the introduction of the solution, security and KNX, and some, let me say, general things I will discuss with you. I will show you. Then Jürgen will go later on into the details of the solution with the product, including the programming. I think that's very important to understand how it works. So, you know, KNX is a system for different applications. The standard applications are lighting control, shutter blinds, heating, cooling, ventilation. And for us is also security, the integration of security, an interesting and important topic. If it's possible to integrate in a project, you can do it quite well with our solutions we have. And that's what I would like to talk about right now, starting with the security terminal. This is a basic unit you need at the beginning, and you can extend the solution. You will see later on a bit more, but we will concentrate today on the security terminal. The connection of security to KNX offers a lot of interesting features and also advantages. First of all, you remember we have sometimes touch panels displays in our KNX system. So it's very simple and very user-friendly to operate all security functions together with such a touch panel. Then furthermore, we can use sensors for security, not only for security, but also for additional functions like lighting control. Take a motion detector, necessary for our security solution, can be used also for lighting control, for example. Or if you activate your alarm system, you set your alarm system. Additionally, some functions can take place in your KNX system, like switching off the lights, switching off some sockets, or reducing the set point of your room temperature system, room temperature control. All these things can be connected if you integrate KNX in your total KNX solution. So we see this KNX and security application as an additional but interesting feature you might integrate in your project. So, using the following range of security products, we will show you mainly today this security terminal. Will give you a lot of additional, let me say, features. Starting from simple functions like monitoring whether your window is open or your door is not locked, up to technical alarms. Think about connecting water sensors, so you can detect also any water leakage in your cellar, for example, or another technical alarm might be the smoke detector, which can be integrated. So we talk about intrusion alarm or intrusion detection, but also technical alarms. So again, the additional benefits, if you combine this solution KNX with security applications, for example, the magnet read contact to monitor a window, Monitoring is a window open or close can be also used for air conditioning or heating control. So in case of opening the window, you will shut down your heating system, for example, in the room. Motion detector also for lighting control. Any technical incidents, you switch off the electrical power of some circuits to reduce any further danger in the building, or to disable this completely. If you set your alarm system, you can bring your home into standby mode to save energy, for example, reduce the temperature, as I said, point of the temperature control. Or any other event can take place if you set your system, if you have any alarm. For example, in case of alarm, you could also move up all your shutters and start to switch on your light, or you have a flashlight in your building as well possible. So light goes on and off in change to improve the alarming situation. All these things are possible if you integrate both of these solutions, KNX and security. As already mentioned, today especially the security terminals will be our part. Just a small information about the accessories you need around security and KNX, which has to do a bit with power supply, but also with these accessories like motion detectors or technical sensors, alarm system, alarming, and so on. And let me say, extension of our solution with the security module and also with the intrusion alarm panel L240 is not the topic today. Maybe in one of the next webinars we will talk about this. Here you see the first picture of the security terminal. Jürgen will go later on in this component in a bit more details. But you see a typical KNX DIN-rail devices with some inputs to connect your conventional alarm sensors, motion detector, window contact, but also setting devices. Different setting devices are possible, such as safe key module, for example, kind of keypad integrated. But it has also outputs to connect your classical alarm devices like a siren or a flashlight. It's either possible. And of course, as it is connected to KNX, all the other components you might need, like a touch panel to operate the alarm system, will be available. Or if you prefer a quiet alarm via telephone, and of course, all the other functions you have in KNX. So such a solution is not a solution only for security, but an additional application in your total KNX solution. As mentioned, we have also extensions available with the security module, which is necessary if you need more than one security terminal. So one security terminal can be used standalone. If you have more channels or more zones, more inputs necessary, you have to use additionally the security module. Not the topic today, maybe one of the next webinars. And on top, we have also a conventional alarm system. At the moment, the intrusion alarm system L240, which has a KNX interface available. It's a solution which gives you some more options, but neither a topic today. What do we need for a solution with the security terminal in KNX? First of all, we need, of course, a power supply for KNX, as always. But it's really recommended to use an uninterruptible power supply to buffer the bus voltage in case of any mains failure. Think about security. Security is very important in a building. It has to run 24 hours a day. No malfunction is accepted. Using such an uninterrupted power supply helps you to run the system continuously. And this is our 640 milliampere SUS 3641 power supply, where you can connect different batteries, a smaller one for a backup time or buffer time of up to 15 minutes. For a security system, normally many hours are required. And with such battery packs here, it can go up to 2 days, 48 hours buffer time. So it's not a must directly, but a real strong recommendation to do this with a security solution in KNX. Furthermore, we need for some components additional 12-volt power supply. Think about the security terminal itself, or the telephone gateway, or some security sensors. They have not all, but some have an additional 12-volt input necessary. So we need additionally 12-volt DC power. Either here we have a DIN rail component to do this job, and also with the option to connect the batteries to have also here an uninterruptible power supply. Practically, you will use the yellow and white wire to link the 12-volt DC power to all the components where it's necessary. So it's a bit additional work, but thanks to our free pair of wires and the bus cable, we can use this for this purpose. Yeah, let's go on some more details of the solution. You see here already on the left, security terminals, 2 for DIN rail installation, 1 for decentralized installation. Jürgen will go later on in some more details. And these components, in principle, first of all, kind of inputs to connect conventional alarm sensors like window and door contacts, motion detectors, or technical sensors, water, fire, gas, to this component. And of course, to have a logic behind, which gives you a complete alarm solution, security solution based on KNX. Yeah, I think application more or less we discussed already a bit. It's a compact security solution for KNX for the security application with monitored cabling or monitored connection of sensors. We'll come to this a bit later. What does it mean? It's a bit different from the normal binary inputs. But as we have also outputs here, we can connect directly any signaling devices. It means the siren, the flashlight, and of course the simultaneous use of sensors for KNX traditional application like lighting control or HVAC, plus for alarming. And our, let me say, focus projects are residential projects, smaller commercial projects as well. It's not a solution normally for, let me say, high-end commercial buildings with very powerful security solutions necessary. They're normally classical security solutions have to be used. Sometimes you have to fulfill also dedicated local standards, which is not the topic with this KNX security terminals. But regarding functions and performance of the system, we are not different. So we can, especially in this range of application or projects, a very good job with this security terminals. Yeah, the component here again is the option to connect all these sensors, plus arming device if necessary. It's also an input necessary. And down there you have 3 binary outputs to connect external siren outside the building, external flashlight, but also an internal siren. We come to this a bit later for internal alarming. So 3 different outputs for these 3 classical alarm devices, acoustical and optical. Yeah, how to connect? In principle, it's a binary input I've mentioned already, but a bit different. First of all, any type of sensor or security sensor can be connected here with a potential free contact. And this end-of-line resistor we can connect or we can use, but we don't have to. It's also possible to work without an end-of-line resistor. Allows us to monitor the cabling between the sensor and our security terminal. And that's a big difference compared with a classical binary input. If something is not properly installed or any disconnection or any short circuit exists in this zone, we call it zone, then it will be automatically detected and an alarm will be sent out. So it's a self-monitoring system, let's say, thanks to this end-of-line resistor. Yeah, if you have a look to all these sensors, these conventional sensors, we have also in our range, you will find sometimes only 2 wires, like a motion detector, for example, which can be connected easily to such a zone input here of a security terminal. Sometimes we have 4 wires in such a device. For example, the window contact, it has 4 wires. And very often people are in doubt how to connect this. It's very simple. You take 2 wires which are next to each other, connected to the zone input. And the other 2 can be connected to a further window contact, for example. And you can do it many times. And at the end of this connection, you link here your end-of-line system in order to monitor the cabling. So 2 directly next to each other will be connected, the other 2 to the next one. Not diagonal, this is not correct, but next to each other. Very simple in principle if you know how it works, and then you do not do anything wrong. Yeah, how many of these sensors can be connected to one zone? In principle, it's not limited. It has to do with your installation. Normally, you do it maybe per room. All window contacts, window contact, and also glass break sensor may be connected to one zone. Then you can monitor one room completely. And of course, any technical sensors will get an independent, separate input to be distinguished. Depends on the project a bit. Yeah, let's have a look to these different sensors. We have also our range and our product range. You see here a window contact, magnetic weak contact, very simple. If you open the window, a contact will be opened, and then this will be, of course, detected by our security terminal. Or glass break sensor will be glued on the window itself. Yeah? And always see the additional benefit you have if it's connected to KNX. Yeah? It's not only for alarming in case of any intrusion or technical alarm, but also, for example, to switch off the air conditioning if somebody opens the window, which has nothing to do with security, but with energy saving. Yeah? So double functions are possible thanks to this integration solution. Or here a motion detector, security motion detector. We have different ones for different detection areas. Also for ceiling mounting is available. And if you want to use this motion detector also for switching on and off the light. If your alarm system is not active, not set, you're in your home, no alarm has to be sent, but maybe you operate also the light in your rooms with this motion detector. Here, a bit more specific mechanical devices. It's called lock monitoring. It's just detecting is a door or window really locked, not only closed. For windows or for doors, very important. So the door should be locked also if you leave your home. And such a component, mechanical component, a contact in principle for us, it's easily possible. Here are some technical sensors. A water leakage sensor, such a device with double contacts here, golden contacts. You mount this on the bottom of your room, on the ground, and if there's any water, it will be detected immediately thanks to a short circuit you have here next to these pins. Or here gas sensor, gas detection is possible, but also very important are smoke detectors. All these things can be integrated in our security solution. And again, here the additional benefits. Some explain. Think about raising the blinds in case of such an alarm, fire, for example, and opening shutters and also roof windows if they are operated via KNX. Something like this is easily possible. Yeah, setting devices, furthermore, are necessary. Setting device means I need any component to let me say, activate the alarm system. If I leave my home, for example, or if I go to bed, I can also activate my alarm system. I can do it with our touch panels, KNX touch panels, for example. With a coded page, you go only on this special page for alarm setting or intrusion alarm, or security system setting. And with a pin code, maybe you can do this, but only you because you are familiar with this. Or here for external setting, if you leave your house, you can mount something like this outside the safe key component. And with such a keypad or with an electronic key, you can set your alarm system. Normally, we distinguish between internal and external setting. What does it mean? Internal setting means you're still in your home during the night, for example. And you will not activate all sensors in such a case. Means motion detectors, if available in your house for security, will not be enabled. Otherwise, you are not allowed to walk around during the night anymore without causing an alarm. Of course, that's not good. If you have internal setting, you will activate only all peripheral sensors, means window contacts, for example, or door contacts, glass break sensors, but never any motion detectors. But this will be done completely if you have external setting active, you leave completely your house. And then, of course, you can enable all the sensors you have installed in your house. And also here we can distinguish between direct setting. Direct means you set externally your alarm system, it will be active at once. Possible if you have an safe key module like this one here outside your building. But if you're still inside your building and you operate external setting via this comfort touch panel, maybe you're still in the detection range of a motion detector. And you will, of course, then activate alarm if you set already. In this case, you activate delayed setting. So first of all, you have to, of course, start the setting process here at the touch panel. And then you have a certain time to leave your house. After you've locked your door, then the real setting process will be finalized and your alarm system is active. So you have different options depending on the programming you have done. And setting is only possible if everything is fine in your alarm system. So if there's any detector still triggered or any existing alarm still active or any malfunction in your system, then the system will not set. And you will see this immediately also on the touch panel, for example, or due to any information, you will be aware of this, and then you will go back into your house maybe and check what is wrong. So that's the logic of any alarm system. We have, of course, also in the security terminal. Yeah, here a kind of alarm matrix. What does it mean if you have different states, unset, internal setting, or external setting, and which kind of, let me say, sensor is active at the moment? For example, if you have external setting activated and any peripheral or any other sensor is active, of course, an alarm will take place. If you have internal setting active, of course, only alarm will take place if the window contact, for example, is triggering an alarm, but not the motion detector inside. Another example here, technical sensor. Independent of your state, unset or internal and external setting, technical alarm has to run all the time. So smoke detector will cause any alarm independent of whether somebody is in the building or not, or the system is set or unset. So you have different situations depending on your state and, of course, any sensor triggered, let's say. Yeah, different alarm types are available. Of course, intrusion alarm. If there's any intruder coming into your building, you send out an intrusion alarm. Technical alarm has to do with smoke detector, water sensor, or gas sensor alarm. And furthermore, there is a panic alarm possible. Could be another type of alarm. For example, if you are still in your house, but you feel something is wrong, somebody would like to enter your property, you can press such a button or whatever and send out a so-called panic alarm to anybody. Temper alarm means if anything is wrong in your, let me say, components. For example, anybody has manipulated components or any housing is not completely closed of the siren, for example. This can be monitored as well. And then a temper alarm will be sent out. And how this alarm code looks like? Two different ways in principle. Classical alarming via optical and acoustical signaling device, like this siren with integrated flashlight. Yeah, normally installed outside the building to inform anybody outside about an alarm situation. Internal alarm is either possible, a siren in principle. So could be the first part of alarm. If somebody is entering your building, you have first of all an internal alarm. And after 3 minutes, also an external alarm will be activated. But even more important, more and more, is a quiet alarm or remote alarming. Thanks to our telephone gateway, we can send out any message to any telephone, a voice message, for example, SMS as well, or email. And so depending on your kind of alarm, you can send to different persons, just different phone numbers, this remote alarm. This is very flexible and both things are used, and yeah, depends what you need, what you want. You can implement this, or both of it. It's also possible, of course. Yeah, the security terminal. Jürgen will come very soon to these components in some more details. Standalone. This is the topic today. Integration with security module, SCMS, or our L240 is either possible. And yeah, external, internal setting, we discussed already. Delayed setting, all these things are possible with the security terminal. So there are no limits. Plus, as already mentioned, we have these three relays to connect also Siren and flashlight. Everything integrated in the security terminal. Yeah, end of line resistor already discussed, 2.7 kilo ohm, just to monitor the cabling, but you can disable this as well. We can work with normally closed and normally open contact, depending on the sensor. We have both types of contacts, and the different ways of alarming and setting we discussed already can be done here in this component, plus also a reset. I did not mention up to now. A reset is sometimes necessary to reset the security terminal in case of alarm or any malfunction, to bring it back in a defined state, let's say. And an alarm memory exists. What does it mean? If an alarm appeared, we can detect which zone, which sensor was causing this alarm. And if you have a touch panel behind, you can sense this directly as an information also, as a text to the touch panel. And what's either very interesting, inputs or zones, so-called, can be disabled if you want, temporarily. For example, in summer, you would like to open the window in your sleeping room. There's a window contact behind normally, and open window normally does not allow to set the alarm system. But if you disable the zone, then it's not working at the moment, and you can open without any problems the window, and yeah, everything will work. So the setting of the alarm system will be possible. Yeah, and my final slide before I hand over to Jürgen is a connection diagram of the security terminal. To see here different options, how to connect. Yeah, the sensors, means the security sensors like motion detectors or window contacts to such an input, or zone, so-called. Depending on normally closed or normally open contact, you see it here in zone A. We have different ways of connection. A normally closed contact will be connected in serial, or you see it even better here on input B. Normally open contacts will be connected in parallel. You see here at channel C. But you can mix it also in one zone. And normally you should use this 7.7 kilo ohm end of line resistor. If you don't want to use this, you can also program it without. You see here, same situation, contacts in parallel, in serial, but no end of line resistor. It's possible to deactivate this. And down there at channel D here, you will see a switching or setting device, so-called, a bit special with a 2.7 kilo ohm and 560 ohm resistance. And this normally closed contact would be our setting device. Here we can distinguish between three states. Set it, the system is set or unset, or any malfunction of this zone can be detected. So three states, and thanks to the resistors, this will be easily possible. Good, so that's as a bit more comprehensive introduction, but now I would like to hand over to Jürgen. Jürgen will go in some more details of the security terminal, how to program this, especially together with the ETS, and to see the different features. And yeah, allow me to hand over to Jürgen right now.
Yeah, hello to all ABB colleagues worldwide. A warm welcome to the Security Terminals presentation. My name is Jürgen Schilder, and I would like to explain you some more technical details and parameter settings in the ETS, and example how you can use the security module, the security terminal standalone in an apartment or in a small residential building. So let me start with some technical data. We have three types of security terminals. The first one is the security module as a security terminal 8 volt. It means we have the 812.2M 8 means we have 8 inputs, or 8 circuits or 8 zones, different countries, different names. But in principle, a security terminal works like a binary input, but we have the galvanic separation between here our inputs and the KNX. That's the difference between a security terminal and a binary input. And additionally, we have here the possibility to connect all available KNX security devices like magnetic read contacts, glass break detectors. And some devices like the glass break detector or the water sensor needs a little bit energy, some microamps. And these devices gets the energy here via these inputs. That's why it is not possible to connect a water sensor or glass break detector to binary input with contact scanning signals. So, additionally, the security terminals needs here supply voltage, so we need additional power supply with 12 volt like the NT-US. Here minus, plus, and we have 3 relay outputs. One relay, the first relay here is a floating relay output. Up to 24 volt DC we can switch, and the other 2 relays, they are switching here our 12 volt plus. So internally we have made a link from the 12 volt input via the relay to this output. So directly, that's the big advantage, we can connect here our external siren or the internal siren. So let me go to the next slide. The LEDs here, the 8 LEDs shows the status of our zones. The LED is on, then we have the information, maybe the zone is triggered, like we have motion, a window is open, or we have water alarm. When all windows are closed or no motion, then the LED here is off. The yellow LED shows the status here of our 3 relays. The LED is off, and then the relay is switched off. Additionally, we have here the manual operation. It's a parameter in the ETS to allow the manual operation. When we start here the manual operation by pressing longer than 2 seconds, it is possible to switch here the relay 1, 2, 3 on and off, and we can make here a reset. Reset after, for example, downloading the application or after an alarm, we have to make a reset by pressing here this button or by sending a group address via the ETS, which is much better. So the security terminal for 12.2M, we have nearly the same, but the limitation is only we have here 4 inputs, 4 circuits. Everything is still the same, the LEDs, the manual operation, and here our 3 relays. The only difference is here our security terminal 2-volt, the MTU, which is a decentralized device. We have only 2 circuits, 2 inputs, here our zone number A, zone number B, and we have only 2 relays. No 3 relays, only 2 relays. That's the difference. And we need here still, again, our supply voltage, 12 volt DC, and it's allowed to use the yellow and the white core of the KNX bus cable to supply these devices. Because KNX is a safety extra low voltage, and our 12 volt uninterruptible power supply is also a safety extra low voltage device, and then it is allowed to use here the yellow and the white core to supply the security terminals via 12 volt DC. So here a small overview how you can use, for example, the security terminal standalone in a small apartment, or a small residential building or in a small shop. We need only our security terminal MTS 8 volt, no additional other intrusion devices or security modules, only one security terminal. We have 8 inputs, and each input we connect different types of sensors. For example, here on our input number A we have a magnetic read contact which monitors the entrance door. The magnetic read contact is a delayed sensor because he is in the entrance area. And now when we open the door, we must have a delayed function. So in the ETS parameter later we have to say the input number A must be a delayed sensor for peripheral protection, like the magnetic read contact entrance door. Channel number or input number B, we have the motion detector, which is also in the entrance area, and this must be also a delayed sensor because you open the door, you walk inside the entrance area until you arrive your arming device. That's why this sensor must be also a delayed sensor, which is also a parameter in the settings. Channel number C, we have the magnetic read contact in a room, living room, kitchen or somewhere, or here the motion detectors, and these sensors are not delayed. These are standard intrusion detectors for peripheral protection, like magnetic read contact, or for internal protection, the motion detectors. One, or of course you can have more sensors in one circuit, but after last sensor we need every time our end-of-line resistor to monitor the sensors. On this channel, channel E for example, we have a water detector. Channel F, we have the tempo contact of our siren, our strobe light, which is installed outside the building, so we have to monitor maybe if someone opens the housing or cuts the cable, and then we have to make an alarm. Here again a technical sensor like a smoke detector, and here in the last one, at channel number H, we have our panic detector. So in case of emergency we can press here the button and we can send a panic alarm to our KNX world. The outputs, relay number 1, we use it for example for the the relay output number 3 for our internal signaling device to send a kind of internal alarm, for example water alarm. Then we switch on the internal siren. And here in our output number B, for example, we have the siren, which is a strobe light, which is installed outside the building, and output channel number 1, we have for example an LED which is installed also outside to show yes, my device, my alarming system is now external set. Never forget, we need uninterruptible power supplies, one for example here for our KNX world, and one the 12-volt uninterruptible power supply to supply our KNX security terminals, and also the siren and the strobe light. Plus some sensors, for example one sensor, maybe one sensor here in the master bedroom for internal setting, unsetting, the rocker number 2 to make a reset, and here for example one sensor in the entrance area with rocker number 1. We can set internal or internal set and unset the security terminal. Rocker number 2, for example, we can deactivate the alarm logic. It is possible to send a telegram to the security terminal, zone number 3 or zone number C, to switch off the alarm logic. So maybe you can open the window in the zone number C, like in your master bedroom, and you can set the system. So the channel C is absolutely deactivated. With rocker number 3, we want to start our external setting. So now we can use the short and long operation. Short, for example, for switching the light on and off in the entrance area, and long, for example, longer than 5 seconds, we can send the command go external set delayed. So we have with rocker number 3 a double function. Short only light, and long we use it for external setting, unsetting. And again one rocker to make a reset after an alarm, for example. This is a small example how you can use the security terminal, standalone. We need no other logic. Everything is here inside our security terminal. We have the complete logic inside, like in a standard intrusion alarm panel. So let's have a look at the ETS parameter of the security terminals. It is in all security terminals the same if you have the 8-volt or the 4-volt, 2-volt. The only difference is here and the number of the zones. Like here in the 8-volt we have available 8 zones. So let's start with the parameter general. The first question here is the operation mode of the security terminal. We can choose between standalone, so we have only one security terminal in our apartment or in our shop. Then we use only one security terminal and we use the internal complete alarm logic. Or when we have more than one security terminals, and then we have to use this mode here together with a security module. But then we need a security module which is responsible for the complete alarm handling. Okay, but we have only one security terminal, that's why we use the parameter here standalone. So the next parameter, important parameter maybe is here, enable communication object in operation or error 12 volt. It is possible, for example, that a security terminal sends every minute or every hour a kind of live signal to the KNX bus, the logical 0, yes, I'm okay, cyclical, no failure, everything is fine. And if the device, for example, has a failure, the 12 volt error, the 12 volt is missing, then he sends the telegram with the value 1 at once. Maybe so you can monitor the security terminal via a visualization or with another logic unit, for example. So here what should happen when we have error failure with our 12 volt supply voltage and the 12 volt is coming back? Should the device make it automatically reset, or it is necessary to send a 1-bit telegram from a sensor, for example from one rocker, to make a reset? So I recommend to use, for example, via reset, then you know, okay, there was a mistake or failure with the 12 volt power supply. So manual operation, it is default, standard like in all other KNX devices. You can enable it or disable it or enable it by sending a telegram. So this is not very important. So, but here very important in the menu settings. Here you can decide what would you like to do about your external setting. Would you set the system external normal? Normal means at once. So you send a telegram and then the security terminal goes external set at once. This is quite common here in Germany, but maybe outside of Germany, worldwide, you use a kind of delayed setting. So you have the arming device inside a building and then you use the time functions. So in our example, we use here the delayed setting. So we choose here the parameter delayed, and then we get two more parameters. One is the so-called setting delay in seconds. Default 60 seconds. It means you press rocker number 3, for example, send the 1-bit information to the security terminal, go external set. So and then we have time to leave the building, and after this setting delay time 60 seconds, the security terminal goes automatically external set. The next time here is the alarm delay time. It means we come home, we open the entrance door. The sensor, the magnetic read contact, is a delayed sensor, and then he starts the alarm time. So you have now 60 seconds time to go to your arming device and unset the system. When you pass the 60 seconds and you have not unset the system, then an external alarm will happen. So next slide, sorry. So we have here another parameter on triggering a delay detector for peripheral protection when internally set. Wow, what does it mean? For example, the wife is at home, she went to bed, she set the system internally set via the night. And now we come at home, maybe from a pub, very late in the night, and we open the entrance door. Now what should happen? Should automatically an alarm should triggered, or the alarm time should start. In this case, it makes sense to change the parameter to start alarm time, and then we have time to unset our system. So next parameter, on closing a delay detector for peripheral protection during setting delay. So this is also a nice parameter. I explained you here, when we send a telegram, go external set, and then we have the time 60 seconds. And after 60 seconds, the system goes set. But now, when we choose this parameter here, set the system, then the system goes earlier set. So now we start the time by pressing one rocker, and then we leave the building, we close the door, our peripheral sensor, and then now when we close the door, maybe after 20 seconds, and then the time goes set, the system goes set after 20 seconds. So we have here kind of time window, time slot, and then with closing the door, the system goes set earlier. So this makes sense to use here this parameter. So, but what should happen when we start this time 60 seconds and we don't close the door in this time slot about 60 seconds? Then we can specify here the system maybe should remain unset, or it should go set automatically. I recommend to use here this parameter to remain unset, because no one has closed the door in this setting delay time. Additionally, we have here some status messages to KNX. For example, one is the setting confirmation. Now when we set the system externally, then we have a communication object, and it sent the logical 1U1 on the bus about 3 seconds. And here, for example, for unsetting the system, so we come at home, we unset the system, then we have the communication object unsetting about 3 seconds, logical 1. Or here, for example, when we send the command to go external set and the system was not ready to set, then we have a message communication object error during setting, and then we can flash the light in the entrance area to remind, oh, the system was not ready to set, and please check, maybe there's a window open or such things. So then we have to specify the types of our intrusion sensors on each zone. When you remember my example, on the zone number A we have the magnetic read contact, which is installed on the entrance door, and this must be a delayed sensor because you open the door and then our alarm time should be started. So please choose here the parameter intrusion detector, peripheral protection, this is the magnetic read contact, and the delayed sensor because it's in the entrance area. So on the next zone, zone number B, we have the motion detector, which is also in the entrance area. So we have to choose here the type of the input. This is the intrusion detector, internal protection, motion detector, and this must be also a delayed sensor. And so you can specify for all your 8 zones the types of the sensors. And here, for example, zone number C, we have the magnetic read contact, maybe in the kitchen or the master bedroom, which is not a delayed sensor. Then we have to choose the parameter peripheral protection. It means our system is set and someone opens the window from outside, he makes the intrusion, and then the alarm happens at once. We have no alarm delay. So next parameter here you can use the settings for you can use the parameters, for example, to say yes, I use the end of line resistor on the end after the last sensor, or I don't use the end of line resistor, I have only normally closed or normally open contacts. Default is end of line resistor because you want to monitor maybe someone cuts the cable or makes a short circuit. That's why here default is 2700 ohms. Next parameter, deactivate alarm logic via communication object. We have the possibility to send a 1-bit telegram to our channel C to deactivate the logic when we say yes. So for example, channel C, this is the magnetic read contact in our master bedroom. We want to set a system while the window is open, maybe in the summer. Then we have to send the 1-bit information to this communication object, and then the input number C is absolutely deactivated. He sent the status to KNX, for example, for the aircon system or for the heating system, but it is not used inside the alarm logic. So next parameter, enable communication object alarm memory 1-bit, yes or no. For example, after an alarm, we have a separate object, alarm memory. This alarm memory object has the value 1 as long as we make a reset. So for example, after an alarm happens, we can see the status of the zones, which zone triggered this alarm. So zone number E, for example, we have our water detector. So we have to set here the parameters. Zone number E must be a technical sensor, technical alarm sensor 1 or 2. Or zone number H, for example, this was our smoke detector and so on. So for each of the 8 zones you specify here the different type. Temper contact, log monitoring contact, or so on. Good, about our 3 outputs. We can use these relay outputs, for example, for no function or communication object. Then we can send a group address from a sensor somewhere else to the relay output and switch independent the security module with some basic functions, time functions, and so on. But it makes sense to use the outputs for the device state. So we can select the relay number 2 switch, for example, in the state of unset, or when the system, for example, is ready to set, or when we have connected our siren, then we use, for example, here the parameter external signaling device. And then when the system is external set, an alarm happens, the relay number 2 switches automatically. We have not to assign a group address, and our siren strobe light makes an alarm. Good, here the overview about the communication objects. First communication object is a so-called device state. So here he sent maybe cyclically every minute his live signal, the logical 0, everything is okay. Or when he has a 12-volt failure, then he sent this group address here automatically with the value number 1. 1 means alarm. Here the communication object for internal settings. So we have to assign here the group address from our sensor. With the logical 1, we set the system internally via the night, and via the 0, we answer the system. Here's the status. Here the security terminal response. Yes, I'm internally set. Yes or no. Here the objects for external setting. So we need, for example, one rocker to start the external setting with the value 1 here. With the 0 we answer the system. Here the status. If the security terminal is externally set, then here responds with the value 1, or unset then with the 0. Here object status if the security terminal is internal or external set. Here we have the communication object, which is very important to make a reset. So we have to assign here group address, and with the value number 1 we can make the reset. Here the status of our 3 relays, and here about manual operation, if it's blocked or enabled, for example. Here we have also some status messages. For example, if the system is ready to set for internally setting, So now when all the windows are closed, these objects and everything is okay, has the value 1, and so you can assign here group address and show it maybe on a LED of a switch sensor or on a panel that the system is ready to set for internally, or here for externally. Here's the setting confirmation. Now when we set the system, then for the specified time we have the object value number 1, or here the unsetting confirmation when we unset the system, or here when we set the system and it was not ready to set, so we have an error during setting, then we have here the value number 1 for the time. Here the delay time is active, so when we press our rocker number 3, send a telegram, go external set, the delay time starts, and as long the delay time is running, we have here the value number 1. And here we come at home, we open our external door, the entrance door, the sensor starts the time delay, and here the alarm time is active. So we can use, for example, here a group address and to show it on a panel, and it beeps or makes a noise, so the end user knows, oh, the system is set, he has to answer the system because the alarm time is triggered. So here the status about the alarming, like here for example for the internal signaling device, this is the internal siren maybe, when we have a water alarm or smoke alarm. Here the external signaling device, our siren, or here intrusion alarm, for example when you want to trigger the telephone gateway and send an email or SMS, voice message, or here for technical alarm, or temper alarm when you want to send different messages via telephone gateway or you want to react difference in your building. Here this is the status of our 8 zones. So now when we open the window, zone number C, the status is 1. When we close the window, the status is 0. The same like we have in a binary input. So here this is for example enable the parameter of the alarm memory of the zone number C. It means we set our system, someone opens our window in zone number C, the status is 1, the alarm memory is 1. And then when we close the window again, this status is 0, but the alarm memory is still high, has still the value 1. And so we come at home, we unset the system, and this object here shows, okay, the zone number C has triggered an alarm. And only after making an reset, this object goes back to 0. So via this alarm memory objects, we can see which zone made an alarm in the status external set. So here with this object, deactivate alarm logic, we can send a telegram with the value number 1, and then the zone number C is deactivated of the alarm logic. The security terminal send the status to KNX with the zone number C, but it's not used inside the alarm logic. So the zone number C makes no alarm. So here a small overview how we have to link our group addresses from our sensor to our security terminal. So the first one is we need one group address from our rocker to switching from the object switching 1-bit information and link it to our security terminal to the object's internal setting unsetting. So we press left, we send the value 1, the system goes internal set, we press on the right side, we send a 0, we unset the system. So this is one group address for internal setting. Then we need another group address for the status. So when the system goes internal set, the security terminal answers with this group address and showed it here on the LEDs of our rocker number 1. So the green LED and the red LED shows the system is internal, set or unset. So next one, we need for example one group address for delay for external setting. So in our example we use rocker number 3 for pressing long, maybe longer than 2 or 3 seconds. Then we assign a group address to the object left long and right long, assign it here to the object external setting unsetting. So when we press long with rocker number 3, we send the telegram go external set or unset delayed. So and for example again we use one with the output here status externally set and link it for example here with one LED to show yes the system is externally set or unset. So additionally, for example, we can use the other LEDs, for example the LED on the left side, to show the delay time or the alarm time is active. So we assign here group address to the object's delay time, alarm time is active. So and we need minimum here one group address to send it for example with rocker number 4 to the object reset. To make a reset after an alarm or 12-volt failure for example. And we can link a group address to the output status reset to the LEDs, so we can see, yes, the security module is now doing a reset at the moment. So, and we can link here, for example, group addresses to our objects, alarm, internal alarm, intrusion alarm, technical alarm, maybe to a switch actuator to switch on another siren, or to call a preset, or to call a scene, or a telephone gateway, for example, what we want. So it's the minimum assigning of group addresses for internal set, external set, reset, and so on. That's what we have to do in our practical exercise. So in here, for example, we have the status of our 8 zones, the status of zone number C, link it, for example, to the room thermostat, and so on, or to a visualization or to a panel. Good. And now when we want to deactivate, for example, deactivate alarm logic, then we have to use, for example, here our rocker number 2, assign one group address, and to link it here with zone number C, deactivate alarm logic, so we can press our rocker number 2, and then the zone number C is disabled, and you can open the window and set your system, nothing happens. But never forget to enable again the alarm logic. Good. Okay, so far example how we can use the security terminal, standalone without additional logic or something, because inside the security terminals we have the complete alarm logic like in our real intrusion alarm panel. So you need no logic, or you need no time for testing. Inside this software runs 100%. So here again the difference between a security terminal and a binary input. At first, differences with security terminal, we can connect all of our intrusion alarm sensors, magnetic grid contact, smoke detector, water detector, glass break detector, everything, and we can monitor if someone maybe cuts the cable or manipulates or something via the end-of-line resistor. And we have the galvanic isolation between KNX, our inputs. That's the next difference between a binary input. And we have another kind of signals also via the relay outputs. We can send a signal walk test or set unset maybe to a standard standard motion detector, for example, for testing and for using the alarm memory inside. Okay, so far different security terminal. What we have done last year, or we tried it several years ago, but last year we had a success. In Germany we have the so-called VDS. This is maybe the standard for intrusion alarm systems in Germany, which comes from the insurance companies, and they specified maybe the risk and how you have to install systems for banks, jewelries, and so on. And we tried to get approval from this VDS for KNX, and it was a long and hard way, but now we have reached this qualification, and now KNX is also approved by this German VDS. This is the institution for certifying of the security products for intrusion or for smoke. And now KNX fulfills this requirement, and we can use KNX in residential building, maybe for small, we call it hazard warning systems. Hazard warning system means not only intrusion, everything more, a little bit more intrusion, smoke, water, so for all hazards around one residential building. And so now KNX maybe is also certified here by this company for the German market. Okay, what about documentation? We have brochures, printed versions in German and English for the security terminals, and for the security solutions with KNX here also available. And last but not least, we have also application manual, security in buildings. It shows different solutions together with security module and so on. And we have also made e-learning modules on our website. So please visit our website abb.com/KNX and go to the menus e-learning modules, and you get another explanation about KNX and security modules and so on. Good, so far from my side about KNX and security, the first step by using the security terminals. Let's check the questions.
I have no questions anymore.
I saw one question from Christian de Kiel. What about the panels? The panels. it is possible to use maybe the comfort panel. The comfort panel has also inside maybe some basic logic for security, but don't mix it. So it means use the security terminals, the alarm logic, and for example in the comfort panel only the buttons to send commands, go internal set, go external set, or reset. So don't mix alarm logic in the panel and use the alarm logic in the security module. Only use the comfort panel to send informations, go internal set, or to show the status, maybe in a page protected via pin code, but please use only one logic in the security terminal or maybe in the comfort panel. The best thing is use the security terminals because we have internal set, externally set, the same features like in a standard intrusion alarm system. Okay, so far.
Yeah, I have no other questions as well here, Jürgen. So yeah, I think we have reached the end of our webinar right now. So this was the second webinar, security terminals. It will be the last for this year at least. No time left anymore. Both Jürgen and myself are still very busy abroad and also here with trainings and customers. But we will continue, of course, next year with more webinars. You will be invited on time, as always. And of this webinar, of course, we will send you again a feedback with the presentation itself and also the recorded session. So then you can have a look later on again if you want.
Good. ETS-Projekt noch.
Okay, additionally an ETS project will be sent as well. You're more or less introduced here in this presentation as well. Okay. Good. Yeah, then thank you so much. See you again next year for the next webinar. And yeah, thank you and goodbye from my side.
Okay, goodbye to all ABB colleagues. Bye-bye.